Hi guys, this is Günther Fellinger speaking in front of the Austrian Parliament. It's a very sunny day, a little bit fresh, but it's a very important day. It's Monday after this Alaska summit, and I want to make it very, very clear what needs to be happen. Look in my eyes, so clear, I want to tell it. And it's not a surprise for anybody who has watched my videos. We need that Ukraine joins NATO, and that's the only logical thing to do if you want to have peace. If you want to have peace right now, put Ukraine in NATO immediately. And what I've seen the last days, in kind of unbelievable dances around the question of security guarantees, and what kind of security guarantees that shall be if not NATO. I mean, you don't need a nuclear scientist to understand that the whole Western civilization since World War II and 49 at the start of the Cold War and all these things is created and stay based on NATO security. And the Western German model is very much applying for Ukraine. We put Ukraine into NATO and we have peace. If it's not all of Ukraine, yes, okay, it should be all of Ukraine. I'm very much in favor of liberating Crimea and Donbass, but if we prefer peace right now, then of course it's not all of Ukraine, but it's the current front lines. And then we basically divide Ukraine into a Russian occupied part, into a European allied part inside NATO. And it worked very well for 40 years with the GDR. Let me be clear. I'm for liberation of Crimea and I'm for liberation of Donbass. I'm for full integration and all these things. But if now the times are made for some kind of compromise, it's logically that this is the way. But there is no other way. There is either complete victory or this a NATO integration scenario of free Ukraine. And I've made that clear since 10 years. And this is my 2000s video on that topic. And I wonder really what kind of Sullivans and experts and all these crazy people. It's absolutely logical that this is the only way. And if the Europeans now going to the White House and to make the big show in support of Zelensky, but when you ask them now, are you in favor of arming Ukraine, of sending the towers and of integrating Ukraine in NATO, and they say no to that, then all the show up with Zelensky is useless. And if Trump tweets about no to NATO membership this morning, obviously it's because this is the only logical way. And of course then Putin will be angry because this was what the war is about. And we have won the war and Putin will fall consequently. And same like the Soviet Union and the Eastern German Democratic Republic, it will not last very long in the case of a much poorer Russia to back up this Eastern, or they have integrated these countries. We will never recognize them. We have also not recognized the GDR, and we will not do that obviously, but we can live with Ukraine in NATO. But without Ukraine in NATO, Ukraine cannot live, and then there can be no peace. And let's be very clear, and I think in my 2000s video and my 10 years of activities, I make it again very clear. Invite Ukraine to NATO, do it on the 1st of September 2025, and if the Russians then make war, let's win the war. And we will win the war. And we are not making any hostile actions against Russia. It's just free Ukraine in NATO, and the rest is temporary occupied territory, which maybe later will join, like the Thuringia and Saxonia and Berlin, Eastern Berlin. And so it's very logical. This is the way, or full victory, which I prefer, the liberation. And it's absolutely technically militarily feasible. Just send the Taurus, Mr. Chancellor, and we win. It's so simple. And best of luck for the summit. And no to any compromise, peace deal, where land and people are sacrificed into slavery any more than the ones which the Russians have already under their slavery yoke. And best to liberate them, but most important to secure by NATO membership the ones who are free today, and not a single one shall be forced into slavery by a European-American agreement. Yes, freedom must win, tyranny must fall, and Vucic, Dodik and all the others, Putin and Lukashenko will anyhow fall very soon. So by making it very clear that we will invite them into NATO, It will be just accelerated process, and not doing it shows our utter weakness and complete failure of understandable strategy. So let's get it done. Ukraine in NATO, Bosnia in NATO, Kosovo in NATO, Austria in NATO, of course also then Ireland, Malta, Cyprus, Moldova, Georgia, and one day as well Serbia after the fall of the Serbian tyranny, and hopefully soon. Okay? And the EU also joining NATO is much more meaningful debate than sitting all in the White House together like the assistants. It's really listen to my podcast and implement what I say, and we would be already much better. All the best from Vienna. Bye from Günther Fehlinger. Ja.